Hey everybody, Steven here. Sad to report that another fitness person has kind of taken a serious injury. Evan Centopani has torn his quad tendon, just like Jim Stepani did. I mean, these are two guys that I love to follow. They have great information, and it sucks to see. I mean, that's a very, very major injury. I'm going to put a link to the article or the blog where Evan is talking about what happened. Essentially, he slipped on some snow or some ice and kind of just felt his knee crumble. So the quad tendon is essentially attaching the quad to the femur. Okay, so I mean, when you sever that, I mean, the muscle of the quad is kind of detached from, depending on how severe it is detached from the femur itself. With that, I mean, that can be a very, very serious surgery, obviously. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll drill 2 holes into the kneecap, and they'll pull the quad tendon through that, and they'll kind of tie it off so that it fastens to that, so that it can reattach to the bone there. I mean, it's got to be extremely painful, obviously. It sucks because Evan was prepping to do the New York Pro. I mean, he took all of last year off. Last thing I saw him in was the Arnold Australian Classic in 2015. He's been prepping for that, and then he was going to do the New York Pro. If you look, I mean, his dude's huge. He's one of the newer up-and-coming bodybuilders that I've really been rooting for. It just sucks to see anybody at that level get hurt. I mean, he mentions he has been injury-free, like acute injury-free, for over 16 years now. So this is his first major injury. I know he'll bounce back from it. There's going to be a lot of physical therapy with this. I'm curious to see what he does after all of that. My guess would be it's going to take about a year to kind of bounce back and get back into the shape that he needs to be, so that he can start prepping and thinking for what he's going to do next in terms of competing. But everybody's a little bit different. He could bounce back quicker. I mean, everybody hears the story about Arnold breaking his femur and then coming back and still competing in the Mr. Olympia, right? So everybody is a little bit different. He is going to be documenting what he's doing with Animal, which is one of his sponsors, and they're going to be pumping out videos. He's really, really active on YouTube, and all of his videos are just great information. That's why I really, really like Evan Centopani as far as the information that he's putting out there. And it's a lot of it's geared towards like meal and food prep and sourcing and how you source your food and finding good quality ingredients. My degree is in nutrition, so I love that he's doing that, not just telling you to eat chicken and this and fish and all that. He's actually telling you, like, hey, go down to the market, talk to the person that's catching or raising your food, and get an idea of how they're actually raising, whether that's cattle and chicken or catching that fish, and then it's not farm raised fish, and if they're raising cattle, that it's done in a good way so that they're not pumping them full of corn. And he talks about all of that stuff, and that's what I think the bodybuilding community needs, is not only telling you to just the workouts and then really talking about the nutrition, but the quality of the food and how that's going to affect. And I think because he does that, his recovery could be a lot quicker, because he's really, really focused on making sure that the food that he puts in his body is very, very nutrient dense. It's locally sourced. It's good. It's not that corn-fed cow. And I can get into all the logistics of why that's bad, and he talks about it a lot. But I think because of that, he's going to have a much speedier recovery. Now, like Jim Stepani, I did a video covering his. It sucks because these were like 2 weeks apart that I saw these, so I really wish these guys the best in the recovery. But as far as after physical therapy, I'm curious to see what they do in terms of exercise. I really hope that they push and start incorporating other practices in with what they're doing, such as medical exercise, which is I'm certified in that, where we kind of manage the medical condition. But they start incorporating stuff like that. I would love to see these guys start doing natural movement. I'm MoveNat certified, and the natural movement side is to help prevent certain injuries. I mean, Jim Stepani tore his quad tendon trying to jump between a gap. And I'm not saying it's 100% proof, but I think it helps in these certain instances, like Evan falling and learning how to fall, because that's part of what you do in MoveNat, and being very conscious and aware of where your body is in space. So I think that would be good to see. I think the bodybuilding community needs that. Now, you can only do so much when you're that big in terms of natural movement. I mean, just because you're kind of going against the grain of nature when you get as big as these bodybuilder guys get. But I think incorporating some of it will definitely help them. So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely check out, I'm going to put the link to the article in this so you can check out for yourself. It's a real short one. He just talks about essentially what happened. He's already had surgery, so he's kind of already on the road to recovery now. It'll be interesting to see what the animal and him put out in terms of content, because they're supposed to document all of this. So check out his YouTube channel, check out the animal YouTube channel. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, you can do that too, because usually he talks about new stuff that's been posted, and he keeps you up to date on everything, which is where I actually saw the fact that he tore his quad tendon. So I wish these guys the best. I hope they make a healthy, speedy recovery, and hopefully they can share some knowledge, and I'd love to learn what they're doing in terms of this. Hopefully I never have an injury like that myself, but I do come in contact with clients that have had injuries and stuff like that, so I'm always game to learn from anybody else's experience with it also. So wishing these guys the best. Hopefully Evan Centopani makes a comeback next year, and he can give Phil Heath and Kai Green and those guys run for their money. I think he's only 34, so I mean, he can definitely bounce back, and I want to see him up on stage again, because he's a beast when he comes in shredded. So thank you guys so much for watching. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more of these videos, along with all the nutrition stuff that I do, the medical exercise, the MoveNat, the home workouts, all of that. So thank you guys so much for watching.